What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and I'm back with the finals of the Pandora's Box tournament. It's been a 1 month, right down the gullet spammage of games, and it's been an absolutely amazing time. These two players have battled the best of the best to get here, only to meet each other in the finals and figure out who is going to be top dog after it's all said and done. We've got Nullus on the left side here, and we've got Ulysses on the right side. Whoa. It's going to be a fun one. Nullus has had to take out some incredibly strong competition through his tournament. He's won some of the best players, same two with Ulysses in this one. If you haven't seen the games, I recommend getting over to the playlist and checking them out. Nullus's journey was through. He started with Matrius in a really, really tight game, 3-2 over Matrius. He then took out Joe in a complete sweep at 3-0. And then in the semifinals, Nullus then took out Soup in 7 games. So he's been a really, really tough ride for him. Ulysses, on the other hand, took out Rappel in a close 5-game series. He took out Shelty in a close 5-game series. And then he took out Shadowfax in 5 games. But we're going to be launching into it very, very shortly, ladies and gentlemen, as we spawning in the right side of the map in the blue color, playing as Zeus. His name is Ulysses. His opponent today in the red color, playing as Hades. His name is Nullus. And yes, as always, the map is competitive, mega random. And we're going to be seeing a cheeky little veto here from Ulysses. It makes a lot of sense here to veto a water map there with his pick. So we'll have to get them back in and see what's going to happen here. But a spicy start now. This is a 7-game series, so having to spend your veto on the very first map is a big spend there. So we'll have to wait and see if Nullus is going to want to do exactly the same thing or not, as we're about to get back in yet again for a completely different map. That's kind of the beauty of competitive mega random. You can veto it and you get something completely different if you are super unhappy with it. As we spawn in now in the top of the, or bottom of the map, I should say, in the blue color, playing as Zeus. His name is Nullus. His opponent today in the red color, playing as Hades. The Zeus here is Ulysses. His opponent is Nullus, and he's playing as Hades. And we do see, this is spicy. We've got ourselves the Mediterranean iteration of competitive mega random, which personally, part of the reason I really like competitive mega random in this sort of a tournament is because oftentimes we're going to be seeing a map which we wouldn't normally see the gods played on. So if someone would say play like Odin here, and then maybe someone plays Ra, and you spawn in on this sort of map, you get a really strange matchup that you wouldn't normally see in the tournament. But unfortunately here, or fortunately, depending on what you're going to be really after, we're actually seeing a fairly common match. I actually think I'm telling a lie. This spawn is not Mediterranean at all. This spawn has got a center island in it, ladies and gentlemen, which changes things completely as to what's going to be happening in this game. And we'll have to wait and see what it's going to amount to after all is said and done. As we got the middle water here, so we'll take a quick look at what's in there. It's completely surrounded by trees, ladies and gentlemen. Completely surrounded by trees in the middle. You can technically get a fishing or a transport ship out, drop a villager over here, drop a dock on this. But that middle land there, I'm not sure it's going to have a whole bunch of impact, but it will make for a very, very interesting water fight in the middle. I'm sure both of these players are going to be wanting to hold onto that when it comes down to it, as the Katoskopos are going to be moving around the map here, searching for something to do. And we're seeing everyone getting going in this game ever so shortly. Generally speaking, these sorts of maps, they kind of favor quicker advance times. So you're not going to be looking for your 5:15 advance. You're more looking for almost a 4:30 advance here with 9 fishing ships and maybe even 3 docks. He could Ulysses here could drop a dock right on this location here and be completely fine. There's also that same opportunity for Nullus to do that same thing and share 2 fishing spots with just the 1 dock, which will be a good starting point for him as well, as it seems both. Well, actually, no, it looks like Nullus skipped his granary, so he should have just a little bit more fishing ships, or just a fishing ship out just a little bit earlier than Ulysses here. But the question is going to be, will he struggle in the early game or not? He is moving over here to drop his storehouse down, and it looks like he's just going for the 6 fish here at the start. Not exactly sure what to make of that, but we'll see how it's going to go as the tournament, as the temple, excuse me, I don't know what I'm saying, the temple coming up right now on this position for Ulysses, as the scouts moving all around the map. We've got some relics being found over here. The Eye of Ornlu, plus 5% of pacifist, axeman, and throwing axeman damage on this location is a big relic to be picking up here for an advantage against those infantry units of Zeus here for Hades. It also helps out in the late game if you start seeing the kind of, what is it, like infantry Heliopolis kind of compositions. So we'll see how it's going to go as Athena coming through for both players. Ulysses looking like he's just a little bit behind Nullus here in this game, as we see the second dock coming up. Fishing ships moving around all over the place here. And we'll see how it's going to go. There's the dock going up, and Nullus is well and truly set up over here. Villagers on both sides of this location. We see 5 villagers only on gold here for Nullus. It seems to be a little bit low normally, as we'll see exactly 5 villagers on gold for Ulysses as well. Normally we see 7 villagers on gold here for the Greek players, but not seeing it here in this game, as I'm sure we're going to be seeing immediately. Trireme will be coming through for Nullus, as he's going to start putting pressure straight onto his opponent now. Unlike Mediterranean, this map here, very, very easily to defend on by just, well, if your opponent wants to attack your fish on the back, he's got to go all the way around the water. So defending on this kind of map here is going to be a really easy time. So we'll have to see what they're going to make of it as this game is going to continue, as the Trireme trying to push through here. Ulysses is going to be garrisoning his fishing ship in as those arrows fly across here. The other option here is, instead of going straight out to the fishing ships, just start doing some chip damage onto the dock or something. If we take a look inside of the main base of Nullus, he's got his Katoskopos over on the side of the map here. He's got his Minotaur sitting over here defending his gold mine. Trireme's going to be waiting over here as the Trireme's now moving forward for Ulysses. Nullus here under attack for Trireme for Ulysses. Ulysses to Nullus is only 3, so he's going to have to pull back here. Meanwhile, trying to put some little pressure onto the bottom side of the map while this is all going on. But as Nullus pulls back underneath his dock, he's going to be completely safe here at this point. That is also another really good point that I've just noticed in chat. Both of these town centers are in range of water, so the water here is going to be vitally important to hold on to. So in the end of this game, if Ulysses decides to go for Dionysus and also for Hera here, he's going to have a huge advantage with myth units in this series. So, or not this series, in this game. So we'll see how it's gonna go. And Nullus is going to have a little bit of a time crunch there, as his units are going to start moving across the map. We can put some pressure on. I imagine the Chiron is going to get bolted there, as Ulysses has been really smart to hold on to his bolt in this position, trying to macro up a storm here here. We've got 11 trireme over here for Ulysses to Nullus's 10 trireme. Trying to micro this as best as he can. We've got a couple of low HP ships there. Does snipe one there for Nullus, sniping two as well as his army starting to move into the main base of Ulysses. He's going to be retreating back underneath his dock right now to try and keep this nice and defensive as he's losing a couple more units. The army coming through here. We see the Ajax. Chiron going to be able to go straight after these Minotaur here, but going straight after the villagers in this location. There's the bolt onto the Chiron as expected, as Odysseus and Jason going to be coming through right now for Ulysses to defend. Ulysses trying to micro this as best as he can. Now Nullus pushing out onto this position as well with his trireme. Going to be very, very careful where that's considered, as the Minotaur does get headbutted there, as a villager over here might end up getting picked off. He can garrison into the dock and into the tower there. He does manage to get in there, and it looks like the Ajax will be getting picked off, and Nullus has lost his Minotaur and will be losing his Ajax to boot here, ladies and gentlemen, as Ulysses comes out the advantage here in this game, as we're going to be seeing Nullus sitting back here. He's got his 13 trireme sitting under that dock. Over here on this location, 14 trireme for Ulysses. As Nullus going to be pushing back out. Will we see, or we are seeing a town center grab here from Nullus as he is moving through to grab that one straight away. But he is going to be greeted by not just a Minotaur, but also Jason and Odysseus. Do we see Ajax and Chiron coming out here for Nullus? It looks like he's not. And this is absolutely huge for Ulysses if he can spot this right now, as the trireme over here are not only going to be getting outnumbered, but he might also end up losing this one as the Ajax comes through. It looks like Ulysses no, he doesn't miss it. He doesn't miss it. He's moving through. The Ajax is on this position. Ulysses is going to get villager kills, deny the town center, and also be able to push through onto this location as well. As we see the Ajax trying to get over here to take out that Minotaur here. We see the villagers coming back over onto this location. There will be a restoration here if he so chooses, as the villager is going to turn around, start shanking down the Odysseus here, as Ajax is a little bit too slow here. The restoration just a little bit late from both players there, as the Odysseus here going to be staying alive. The villager's going to be able to take that one down. The Minotaur does get picked off there as the villager's retreating away from this location. Meanwhile, on this position, both players still trying to jockey in and out there, as the villagers still going down on this position. We see some more villagers getting sent over here. Chiron now making his way in onto this position. Ulysses has got such an advantage here. Just look at this low HP villager, 9 HP remaining, as it's going to take a long time for Chiron to deal with all of this. Meanwhile, the Odysseus coming in, there's low HP villagers on both sides, and Ulysses snipes another villager here. As the Jason coming over here, we see Nullus having to retreat for the time being. He's still got a handful of trireme on this position. Ulysses himself is now going to be grabbing his own second town center. We actually see a second town center coming up over here for Nullus, as more villagers coming in onto this position to try and take out these heroes here. The thing is, for Nullus to try and deny a third town center of Ulysses in this position, he'll have to move all the way around the other side of the map, as this villager getting awfully close to falling. Will the Jason die in time? Yes, it does. Will the villager get picked off here, though? The Jason is getting awfully close and will manage to pick off another villager. Ulysses is at 36 villagers right now. He does find the exhibition ship. Nullus is going to be able to retreat back into the dock, but does lose one of them there, as his trireme coming through here to try and defend this one. He's got himself 16 of those trireme to 19 for Ulysses, but Nullus can garrison inside this dock and defend on this position for a hot minute. He's also got hippopotamus on this location, as well as a ton of hippopotamus over here, so there's not really any rush here to like hold on to water or anything, but he will need to hold on to water for those town centers. Meanwhile, the Ajax and Chiron sitting idly by when he could have come over and hit this town center and done exactly the damage which Ulysses did to him, but done back, but he's not realized that just yet. Going to be dropping some military buildings on this position, going straight into the archery ranges here. Wouldn't mind seeing a couple more docks getting thrown up over here for Nullus, as he's going for a complete ring around the rosy over here. We do see the Odysseus was back out at this point, as villagers everywhere for Nullus. Ulysses right now is going to be able to head to the heroic age, though, which is going to be really, really big. The question is going to be, does Ulysses go for Dionysus, or does Ulysses go for Apollo here? I think it's a very, very spicy decision nonetheless, as these trireme are getting taken down on this position. Nullus still needs to retreat away. He's getting a little bit caught out of position there, as it so is. Meanwhile, all the fishing ship currently idle there, as well as the Chiron and the Ajax going to be moving over here. Ulysses does react immediately. There is a very low HP villager over there that he might want to try and snipe if he does a quick selection of that, as we do see the Ajax moving up to the top side. Meanwhile, we've got a whole bunch of military buildings coming down for Ulysses. He hasn't decided to advance just yet, instead opting for more military buildings, potentially going to start some production, but it looks like he is 100% going for that next age here. Meanwhile, Nullus, on the other hand, he's going to be making some toxicity, so he's looking to get a little bit of damage done onto his opponent while this is all going on. We'll be able to snipe a villager there with his Chiron, as the fishing ship on this position going to be going down, and Nullus has to retreat even further back over here. And we'll see how things are going to go for Nullus, as we see Apollo here for Ulysses. This is really, really good for Nullus in the late game, because it means no Skylar, which should mean that Nullus should be able to hold on to the water and not suffer a very quick defeat to siege ships. However, he needs to play around it. So he needs to get out a fortress, and he needs to get out Petropolis and things like that to defend on that location. As the trireme still looking for fishing ship kills over here, as Ulysses is still marking it really, really well. Good awareness of that, as we're starting to see some units coming through here to push off of these Hippo on this position. This is not something which Nullus is going to want to see here in this game, as watchtowers coming through for Ulysses, as he's kind of aware that the units are on this bottom side of the map. Meanwhile, over here with this gold mine, a little bit exposed, but it's defensive enough with the town centers on this position that you kind of need an underworld to push in onto it and not lose all of your units. As Nullus not paying attention over here, the watchtower going to be able to deal with this relatively easily, as Nullus will be retreating back. We've got the Toxotes getting trained into the archery range over there, as we've got the granaries going up all over the place here as well. Vault of Erebus now coming through for Nullus to give himself a little bit of extra economy here. Right now, Nullus is in front on the villager lead, but Ulysses will be hitting Mythic Age first here, most likely. He's got the market, he's got the food income. He will have himself a plenty vault to drop first here, and Nullus is currently short just a little bit of gold. He is moving over onto this location over here. Economic upgrades, hand axe, pickaxe only. We've got farms also coming up for Ulysses in the main base, as he's looking around on the map trying to figure out how to finish this game off. I wouldn't be surprised if Ulysses goes for the straight into siege ships here. It's a really, really strong, but the other option is to just simply chuck a whole bunch of villages onto favor, get himself some Heliopoli out, and then make himself a huge underworld play with Heliopoli and all that other stuff. But right now, Nullus is playing it nicely. He's pushed off this gold mine on this position over here, and Nullus over here, he's nearly got a gold starve kind of started here in this position, which could be absolutely huge. Yes, Ulysses does have full population at this point, but the Nullus army is scary. We see the Chiron over here is going to be able to deal with that Manticore as well. Meanwhile, Nullus is still not able to click to the next age. He might want to consider going through Aphrodite here to just give himself a little bit of an edge in this game, but not quite able to make it there just yet, as he doesn't have those upgrades, so he doesn't have that many villages on gold just that yet. Lots of spending on those military units as he's retreating back here, trying to get into a nice and defensive position next to the wood line over here, as the Manticore will come in, help destroy all of this. We also see a cheeky Peltas coming in from Ulysses. I never mind like 1 or 2 Peltas being trained, because it can be a decent idea, as we do see the Plenty Vault coming down. Nullus steals it straight away, but I'm sure that will go straight back over to Ulysses's perspective, or control, I should say, as he moves forward. Meanwhile, in this position, we've got the stable coming down over here. Forge of Olympus immediately coming through for Ulysses. He is going to have an incredibly difficult to kill army very, very shortly. Meanwhile, also 65 villages right now for Ulysses, with 16 fishing ships plus the Plenty Vault, sits Ulysses at about 200 villages right now in terms of income. So he is a solid 20 villages in front of Nullus at this point. And do we see the siege ships coming through? It doesn't look like we are seeing those siege ships coming through for Ulysses. Doesn't feel like he needs to go for them just yet. Meanwhile, on this position, we are seeing villagers looking to try and drop some side builds over on this location, as Nullus is happily eating the hunt on that position as well. Nullus going to be getting himself out some Hades Shades to help out in this position, as well as Apollo is now clicked up. We're going to be seeing the Ajax trying to push through, try and take out that Manticore, but not able to get there just yet, as the army going to be pulling back ever so slightly. Ulysses has got a significant advantage right now, as his copper weapons, copper mail, copper shields coming through, but he is sitting a little bit low on the population right now, so Nullus can make something happen here, especially with some sort of an underworld from here over onto the back here to try and secure Ulysses' Plenty Vault, and the gold mine could be a huge play for Nullus pushing forward here. We'll see if he's going to be able to do it. He doesn't have any line of sight over there just yet, but that would be a huge idea for Nullus moving forward as the Manticore does get taken down. Meanwhile, in this position over here, we see the storehouse coming up, all the military buildings down over there for Nullus as he is desperately trying to hold on in this game. As Carpenter's Quarry coming through for Nullus as well, trying to get his economy into gear as the army here for Ulysses is looking mightily strong. Bronze mail, bronze shields coming through as well as the Colossus coming through to get a lot of damage done on this position over here. Nullus, while he is behind in tech right now, his score is only a little bit behind right now. So if he can hold on for long enough and just get himself to that late game with enough distraction tactics, he may just be able to stabilize here. As now he's clicking up, he's going through Artemis. This is absolutely huge. This is so huge. The Pegasus moving over onto this position as well. He's going to go for that underworld on this position here. But Artemis here is has to be a completely crazy idea, right? He's not going to have the Hephaestus. He's going completely all in. We see the Pegasus coming in onto this position, and I imagine a straight underworld here, but also Ulysses has got an underworld for himself. He's pushing forward onto this gold mine as the Toxotes have to retreat back. Having no upgrades here is absolutely huge as the underworld does come through onto this position. As the army retreating in over here, we will be seeing Ulysses doing literally exactly the same thing, most likely, to defend on this position as the Plenty Vault is now under Nullus's control. But Earthquake is going to be coming through as well. Meanwhile, the units here for Ulysses deciding to attack this position straight away. We see the fortress coming up here, trying to force Nullus back, but this is kind of what Nullus needs here. Nullus needs this to try and grab this Plenty Vault for himself, but unfortunately here it looks like Ulysses has managed to just grab that back without too much of a problem there, as we got Iron Mail and Iron Shields coming through. Look at these armory upgrades. We've got 0 upgrades for Nullus to Ulysses, who's nearly full iron in this position, as the Silver Colossus is going to be retreating back and eat this gold mine on the front here to heal all the way back up to full HP. Meanwhile, the Bellerophon is doing so much damage on this position as the Toxotes is retreating back and sit underneath this fortress for a little while here, as Nullus is going to be using his defender's advantage over here. Meanwhile, still pushing off of that gold mine. We see some units coming through over here trying to use those Prodromus to deal with this, and we do see the Earthquake being used on this location over here. There is Architects, there is fortified town centers, and it's not enough to take the town center down there, and that's so bad for Nullus. He should have probably used it on this town center in all honesty, as the Chimera coming through on this position, going to be looking for some villager kills. We do have the Ajax and the Chiron over here to try and deal with that Silver Colossus, with but the Underworld is getting taken down. Meanwhile, Plow coming through for Ulysses very, very late after he's got a handful of farms here, but the Chimera are going to be moving in onto this position, trying to get some good damage done. We see the villagers coming through here to try and repair this one back up. Villagers over here mining this gold mine out. There's 2,000 gold left in it. Meanwhile, Nullus is 145 population to the 160 population of Ulysses. And we see the Underworld Passage coming through here for Ulysses to try and deal with this. And he's going to be able to tear down that Underworld, control this position over here. Do we see some docks coming through here for Nullus? No, he's moving his villagers forward potentially onto this gold mine over here, as Nullus obviously knows that this damage here is very, very vitally important, as the Underworld Passage here getting taken down. We do see Heliopoli coming through here for Nullus, as well as his Underworld does get taken down. Ulysses immediately going to be popping back through onto this Underworld, most likely, as he's got 3 Silver Colossus right now, ladies and gentlemen. But Perseus is in here for Nullus, as he's going to be able to one-bang those Silver Colossus. Ulysses might want to consider not going Colossus anymore, going to Heliopoli, a little bit more safe, a little bit more solid here. And Nullus is going to be trying to live in this game for as long as he possibly can. For some reason, Ulysses making some Myrmidon here. It's not the unit you want to make against Greek, because it doesn't get any bonuses there, as the Perseus getting sniped down. You don't want to lose the Perseus. 400 gold, 6 favor is a lot of HP there, as he does snipe yet another Colossus, but he might be losing his life there as he's trying to retreat back. We see iron weapons coming through now for Ulysses, as Nullus has got 1,000 food in the bank here. And we see the underworld passage is going to live very, very nicely. Meanwhile, still no siege ships here for Ulysses. It's a very, very simple way to take down an enemy town center. It's absolutely oppressive, and there is no defense over here for Nullus to make that work, because you need a fortress, you need Petropoli, or you need a Heliopoli on that shore to kind of defend against it easily, as Bellerophon makes a nice retreat out there as he runs through to hit that hippopotamus. You can actually retreat the Bellerophon back to a temple, utilize Temple of Healing, get that one back up to full HP in a very, very short amount of time. Another thing you can do is you get multiple temples down to heal multiple of your units. It's a really, really good technology here, as the Heliopoli going to be moving forward onto this position. Still no armor upgrades here for Nullus, as he is desperately trying to get his economy in check while trying to deal with the Ulysses units. Ulysses is still sitting full population, spamming buildings out all across the map here, as the Colossus going to be retreating back onto this position. Need another Perseus to kind of deal with that, as the underworld passage is now the building under target here with 3 Heliopoli. I say this all the time, Heliopoli are everything in the Greek matchup. We'll see if that's going to be the case here, but you do need to get some defensive units to help them out and make sure that no hack units are going to be able to deal with them, as the Colossus coming through here to try and help out. The villagers going to be attempting to repair this underworld passage back up, but it's just not going to be enough. Well, actually it will be if that Heliopoli can't get over there, as the Colossus now taking out those Heliopoli nice and fast. We see more Heliopoli rolling in onto this position over here, as the one thing that makes Heliopoli so ridiculously strong is that their stats, they don't get influenced by armor upgrades. So Hephaestus doesn't help out 1 iota against the Heliopoli here in this situation. Now, the other thing you can do here is, as you see the Toxotes targeting down the Heliopoli, is you can actually drop your Toxotes into your own Heliopoli to get a little bit more bonus damage onto your enemy Heliopoli in the end. I think it's a little bit better. It also keeps your units alive. As while Nullus' score is dropping considerably behind Ulysses, he's actually managing to hold on at this point, as we see still seeing these kind of side builds coming through. We do have a market up though for Ulysses now. He's got 22 donkey caravans. He has a lot of economy on top of Nullus right now, and I think he might be considering going for a Titan on the back of all of this, utilizing his economy here to the fullest of its advantages, because Nullus is not going to be able to afford a Titan in this game just yet. Meanwhile, still Micro here with these Toxotes. The reason I say Toxotes aren't so good here is because you can just garrison into the Heliopoli, but we're not actually seeing that from Nullus or from Ulysses here, as the Heliopoli taking out each other on this point very, very nicely. We see the Perseus coming through here yet again in this location. There's some villagers dropping in onto this position over here. Nullus is noticing that they're going to be taking those out with his own villagers, as the villagers coming over onto this gold mine. They want this location here. Ulysses has got plenty of donkey caravans right now, but somehow, some way, Nullus's Toxotes here are winning on this fight. Look at this, 7.8 damage versus the Toxotes of Ulysses, of Nullus, sorry, which is 7.8 damage, as the forward fortress going to be getting taken down. Was that Perseus in here still? Looks like the Perseus may have fallen, as another gold Colossus going to be moving in onto this position. Meanwhile, do we see some units coming out here? Yes, we do. Some fishing ship. He deleted his fishing ships. Ulysses doesn't fishing ships that don't have to move are the fastest source of income. You're better off, if you're going to be deleting villages, to delete farmers rather than fishing ships from memory. But as we see these Myrmidon coming through here, again, we're going to be seeing a fortress coming up onto this position. Nullus does have a fairly big lose condition moving forward in this game, which is this gold mine over here finishing up. We've only got 1 trade caravan through for Nullus as he's starting to build that. We've got the heavy archers coming through for Nullus as well, as this fortress is getting closer and closer to falling here. Hades is so absurdly strong. How is Ulysses not so far in front right now? He's got himself 125 favor to boot, as the Perseus comes through, snipes one of those Colossus here. He's going to retreat that one back. He has to wait 22 seconds. to get that recharge back, but we're seeing Ulysses target that down immediately here as some of those Hephaestus coming through with the help of the Toxotes to try and take out the Myrmidon here, but it's just not quite enough just yet because still no armor upgrades, no line upgrades either for Nullus. He's only got himself copper mail here, or copper shields, as now we see Naval Ox abilities coming through for Ulysses. He is going to be going for the ward up right now to take this town center down, and Nullus has got no answer for this at this point. So we'll wait and see if Ulysses is going to give it away straight away by moving his Juggernaut a little bit too close at the start here, and if Nullus is going to be able to react to this in time or not. It can be very, very difficult to deal with this if you're not prepared, as the Oxy Juggernaut starting to get some damage done onto the town center over here as units trying to push through, trying to take out this gold mine, as the village is going to be pushing through here to drop a storehouse down onto this location. We do see the Colossus over here getting taken down as the army on this position mostly getting cleaned up, and Nullus here looking like he's very low on the gold. He's getting taken out on this town center over here. His villagers trying to push through onto this gold mine, but there's only a handful of Toxotes here, very unupgraded against the infantry units that are coming through here for Ulysses. Ulysses should be building just normal infantry units here as the villagers will be retreating away. Meanwhile, on this position here, the Heliopoli is still trying to push through here. If he can take out that mark, it could be absolutely huge. Meanwhile, town center not being paid attention to. He finally notices it as the town center goes down. The Juggernaut's going to be moving elsewhere now, but Nullus is down to 2 town centers. Ulysses has still got plenty of economy on top of Nullus. He's very, very low on the resources right now, however, as Nullus is 126 of 130 population. He still doesn't even have himself fortified town centers in this game, as the storehouse is going to get taken down here by Ulysses to try and stop the gold income of Nullus in its tracks here. As do we see any sort of attempt to send siege over onto this location? All you need is like 1 Heliopoli can take out these Juggernauts, as Nullus, he can't even afford to drop this town center just yet. He's got himself 10 donkey caravans there. Ulysses' caravans are very, very healthy here. I wouldn't mind seeing another marker getting thrown down here as well for Ulysses, as the Bellerophon coming through onto this position. We see the Ajax trying to take out those Colossus, but they are so absurdly strong, as Nullus is still not dropping his town center back just yet, trying to hold on in this game, trying to force Ulysses to make some other decision here in this game. This Pegasus not doing a whole lot. That's 2 population there that Nullus could really use here, as the Heliopoli doing everything they can to hold on to this position over here. But running out of this gold mine over here, we see the market getting, still getting produced over on this position, but Nullus does decide there to tap out. GG, well played by Ulysses. A really, really solid game to start it off here for Ulysses, as Nullus cannot manage to hold on here and get to his late game dream. He was getting closer and closer and closer, but he just couldn't get enough gold income, enough resources here to catch up to the position that Ulysses managed to find himself in. And that was just too much for him. There was this time where I thought maybe an Underworld here, instead of putting pressure onto this location, probably could have been a way forward. Obviously, that earthquake not killing a town center is really bad for Nullus. It would have given him a little bit more time here to hold on, but he just didn't manage to make it work. If you guys enjoyed this game, please consider the follow on the Twitch. If you're on the YouTube, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next game.